The massive silver spaceship broke through the clouds of the alien world, its hull gleaming under 3 distant suns. Inside, Tom gripped his seat tightly, watching as the strange purple landscape grew closer. Next to him, Alice and Marcus pressed their faces against the viewing window, their eyes wide with wonder. They were the first humans ever chosen for the Galactic Central Academy's exchange program, and none of them knew exactly what to expect. The ship landed with a gentle thud on the crystalline landing pad. As the door opened, the 3 students were immediately surrounded by a group of official-looking aliens wearing shimmering protective suits. One of them stepped forward, holding what looked like 3 transparent bubbles. "Please, for everyone's safety, put these on," the alien said through a translator device. Its voice sounded nervous, almost shaky. "These are your protective suits. You must wear them at all times outside your quarters." Tom looked at his fellow humans, confused. "But the air here is safe for us. We checked the readings." The alien's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "The suits are not to protect you from our environment. They are to protect our environment from you." The 3 humans exchanged puzzled looks but put on the suits anyway. As they walked through the spaceport, other aliens quickly moved out of their way, some even pressing themselves against the walls. Tom noticed how their tentacles or appendages trembled slightly when the humans passed by. The academy building was enormous, its spiral towers reaching high into the purple sky. Their guide led them to a separate wing of the building, far from the main dormitories. The sign on the door read "High-Risk Species Containment Quarters" in multiple languages. "High risk," Marcus whispered. "What do they think we're going to do? Eat them?" The alien guide's translator crackled. "Your species is classified as an apex predator from a Class 12 Deathworld. These quarters are specially reinforced to withstand your strength and provide you with Earth-like conditions." Their rooms were surprisingly comfortable, though everything was clearly built to survive extreme abuse. The walls were made of some kind of super-strong material, and even the furniture seemed designed to handle tremendous force. Later that evening, as they sat in their common room, a small screen lit up with a message. It was their class schedule, along with a long list of safety protocols specifically for human students. The list included things like maintain minimum safe distance of 3 meters from other species, and no sudden movements in presence of non-Deathworld species. "This is ridiculous," Alice said, reading through the rules. "They're treating us like we're some kind of monsters." Tom was about to agree when he accidentally bumped into a table, leaving a small dent in its surface. The material was supposed to be stronger than steel, according to their guide. He looked at the dent, then at his hands, beginning to understand why the aliens might be nervous. The night cycle began, and the 3 suns set one by one, casting strange shadows through their windows. In the distance, they could hear the sounds of other students in the main building, but here in their special quarters, they felt isolated. "Tomorrow's going to be interesting," Marcus said, trying to lighten the mood. "Maybe we can show them that humans aren't as scary as they think." Just then, their room's computer system played a warning message. Reminder: human students must complete aggression suppression meditation before sleep cycle. This is mandatory for safety certification. They lay in their beds that night, each lost in thought about what they'd gotten themselves into. They had come to learn about alien cultures, but instead, they were learning something unexpected about themselves and their home planet. Earth, their normal, everyday world, was apparently so terrifying to the rest of the galaxy that even 3 young students needed to be treated like dangerous creatures. As Tom drifted off to sleep, he wondered what other surprises awaited them. The gentle humming of the containment field around their quarters was a constant reminder that they weren't just exchange students, they were representatives of a world that the galaxy feared. Tomorrow would be their first real chance to show these aliens who humans really were, for better or worse. The biology classroom fell silent as Tom, Alice, and Marcus entered. The other students, a colorful mix of different alien species, pressed themselves against the far wall of the room. Even the teacher, A tall being with translucent skin seemed to take an involuntary step backward. Today's lesson will be about predator species classification, the teacher announced, their voice trembling slightly. The large screen behind them lit up with various creature images from across the galaxy. And we are fortunate to have living examples of apex predators with us. Tom felt his face grow hot as every eye in the room turned toward the three humans. He noticed some students had extra protective gear on beyond their normal environment suits. Humans, the teacher continued, come from a Class 12 Deathworld. For context, most inhabited worlds in the galaxy are Class 3 or below. The screen showed Earth's statistics, and gasps filled the room. Their planet features constant tectonic activity, extreme temperature variations, and regular natural disasters that would annihilate most species. Alice raised her hand. But Earth isn't that bad. We have lots of peaceful places too. The teacher's translucent skin rippled with what looked like fear. What you consider peaceful would be catastrophic for most species. Your oceans alone contain enough pressure to crush most sentient beings. Your weather patterns include wind speeds that can lift buildings. Marcus chuckled. Wait until they hear about our animals, he whispered to Tom. Unfortunately, the teacher's sensitive hearing picked up his words. Yes, let's discuss Earth's wildlife. The teacher pulled up images of Earth's creatures. Even their non-sapient animals showed terrifying capabilities. Their birds can break the sound barrier, their sea creatures can survive crushing depths, and their insects can lift many times their body weight. The class watched in horror as the teacher displayed a human skeletal system. Humans possess a reinforced internal framework that can endure multiple fractures and continue functioning. They have redundant organs, rapid tissue regeneration, and can survive the loss of significant amounts of blood. One brave student raised a tentacle. Is it true they can regrow their outer layer? Yes, the teacher replied. Their skin regenerates constantly. They also possess the ability to repair broken bones, heal severe tissue damage, and even regrow certain organs partially. But the most terrifying aspect, the teacher continued, is their endurance capabilities. Humans evolved as pursuit predators. They can continue physical activity long after most species would collapse from exhaustion. Tom remembered the morning's meditation session, how the instructors had seemed so worried about human adrenaline responses. Now it all made sense. Their normal biology class had turned into a horror show about humans. A small, floating alien near the back spoke up. What about their diet? I heard they can eat almost anything. Correct. Humans are omnivores with highly efficient digestive systems. They can process substances that would be lethal to most species. Their stomach acid is particularly corrosive. Alice raised her hand again. But we're not dangerous. We're just students like everyone else. The teacher's skin rippled again. Your species' natural capabilities make you dangerous by default. Your intentions, while presumably peaceful, don't change your biological reality. You come from a world that should be impossible to survive on. Yet your species not only survived but thrived. The rest of the class passed in similar fashion, with each new revelation about human biology causing fresh waves of anxiety among their classmates. By the end, the gap between the humans and the other students had grown even wider. As they left the classroom, Tom noticed something had changed. The fear in the other students' eyes now held a hint of something else. Respect, maybe even awe. They were starting to understand that humans weren't just scary because they were strong, but because they had survived conditions that would have killed most species in the galaxy. Well, Marcus said as they walked back to their quarters, at least now we know why everyone's so nervous around us. We're basically space orcs to them. The Academy's gymnasium was unlike anything the humans had ever seen. The massive room had different gravity zones, floating platforms, and exercise equipment designed for dozens of alien body types. Tom, Alice, and Marcus stood at the entrance, still wearing their protective suits, as their physical education instructor hovered nearby. Today, we will assess your physical capabilities, the instructor announced, their gelatinous form rippling with nervous energy. Please remember the safety protocols. The class began with basic stretches. The humans tried to move slowly, but even their gentlest movements made other students flinch. Then came the first real test, a simple jumping exercise. Tom went first, forgetting for a moment about holding back. He jumped, and in the lower gravity of the gym, soared nearly 5 meters into the air. Screams erupted from the alien students, and several emergency containment fields activated automatically. "By the void," the instructor exclaimed. That's impossible without technological assistance." Marcus tried to help by explaining. "Actually, this is pretty normal for humans. Our gravity at home is stronger, so we're used to pushing harder." This explanation only seemed to make things worse. The instructor's gelatinous form quivered violently. "You mean to tell me you regularly overcome such crushing gravitational forces?" The next exercise involved lifting weighted objects. Alice, trying to be helpful, noticed a small alien struggling with a heavy piece of equipment. Without thinking, she walked over and lifted the object with one hand. The alien's eye stalks went wide, and it quickly scuttled away. "Class, remain calm," the instructor announced, their voice shakier than before. "Remember that our human guests are under strict control protocols." The endurance test that followed truly sealed their reputation. While other students needed rest after brief periods of exercise, Marcus continued running laps, barely breaking a sweat. The other students watched in horror as he maintained his pace, lap after lap. How are you not exhausted?" a floating gas-based student asked. "This is nothing," Marcus replied cheerfully. "On Earth, some humans run for days." The entire gym went silent. The instructor had to take a moment to reform their gelatinous shape after hearing this. The data was correct, the instructor finally said. "Humans truly are pursuit predators. They can maintain physical activity long enough to exhaust any prey." During the strength assessment, things got even more interesting. The equipment, designed for various alien physiologies, wasn't calibrated for human capabilities. Tom accidentally broke one of the machines, causing another wave of panic. "I'm so sorry," he said, holding the broken piece. "I can help fix it. Please just put it down slowly," the instructor begged, their form rippling with anxiety. By the end of the class, new safety protocols had been implemented. The humans were now required to use specially reinforced equipment in a separate section of the gym, with multiple containment fields active at all times. As they walked back to their quarters, Alice sighed. "We're trying to show them we're not dangerous, but everything we do seems to scare them more." "Maybe we're thinking about this wrong," Tom said. "We can't pretend we're not strong or fast, but we can show them that being powerful doesn't mean being dangerous." Just then, they passed a group of younger alien students who, instead of running away, watched them with fascination. One small creature even waved, its tentacle trembling only slightly. Marcus waved back gently. "Look at that. Maybe they're starting to see us differently." "Yeah," Alice said. "Not as monsters, but as something else. Something that grew strong because it had to." The chemistry lab's walls were lined with containers of different atmospheric mixtures. The three humans sat at their reinforced workstation, separated from other students by a glowing safety field. Today's lesson was about planetary environments, and Earth was about to become the main topic again. "Observe the standard conditions of most inhabited worlds," the teacher said, displaying a hologram of various planets. "Notice the stable crusts, predictable weather, and gentle atmospheric conditions." The display shifted to Earth, and several students recoiled at the data scrolling across the screen. Red warning symbols flashed next to almost every measurement. "Your world," the teacher continued, "exists in a state of constant chaos. Active volcanoes spew toxic gases. Massive plates of rock crash together beneath your feet. Your single moon creates devastating tidal forces." Tom raised his hand. "But that's what makes Earth interesting. All that activity created our diverse ecosystems. The teacher's compound eyes widened. Interesting. Young human, your planet regularly experiences events that would be extinction-level disasters anywhere else. You call them weather. Images of Earth's natural phenomena filled the display. Hurricanes spinning across oceans, tornadoes tearing through plains, lightning storms illuminating entire continents. Your species evolved in these conditions, the teacher said, their voice filled with disbelief. You learned to predict these disasters, to build structures that withstand them, even to harness their power. Alice watched as their classmates took notes, their appendages trembling slightly as they recorded Earth's terrifying statistics. What about earthquakes? She asked. Don't other planets have those? Most inhabited worlds have stable crusts, the teacher explained. The few that experience geological activity consider a magnitude 2 tremor a major emergency. Your San Andreas fault line shifts enough energy to shatter most civilized worlds. Marcus couldn't help but laugh. Wait until they hear about the supervolcano under Yellowstone. The teacher's color changed rapidly. Please don't mention that particular feature of your world. The calculations of its potential energy release are disturbing. A student near the back raised an appendage. Is it true humans build cities near these disaster zones? We adapt, Tom explained. We build structures that can flex with earthquakes, storm shelters for tornadoes, seawalls for tsunamis. The teacher's color shifted again. That is perhaps the most terrifying thing about humans. You don't just survive these conditions. You choose to live in them. You build homes on fault lines, in tornado corridors, beside active volcanoes. The lesson continued with a detailed analysis of Earth's atmospheric composition. The other students were shocked to learn humans breathe oxygen, a highly reactive gas that would be considered toxic on many worlds. Your blood, the teacher said, displaying a diagram of human circulation, carries this corrosive element throughout your bodies. You require it to function. The very thing that would destroy other life forms gives you strength. As the class ended, Tom noticed something had changed in how their classmates looked at them. The fear was still there, but now mixed with something like amazement. We're not special, Alice told a group of students who had cautiously approached their workstation. We just came from a world that taught us to be strong. Walking back to their quarters, Marcus smiled. You know what? Maybe being from a death world isn't so bad. It means we can handle anything the galaxy throws at us. The Academy's cafeteria was divided into hundreds of different environmental sections, each designed for different species' dietary needs. Tom, Alice, and Marcus sat in their specially designated area, separated from others by thick barriers. Their food preparation station had warning signs in multiple languages. At least they gave us real Earth food, Marcus said, biting into something that looked like a hamburger. A group of alien students watched in horror as he chewed the meat, their tentacles curling in distress. One brave alien student approached their table, keeping a safe distance. Is it true you can eat both plants and animals? It asked through a translator. Yes, Alice replied, showing her salad and sandwich. Humans are omnivores. We can digest lots of different foods. The alien's color changed to a pale shade. But how do you process so many different organic compounds? Most species can only handle one food type safely. More students gathered around, fascination overtaking their fear. They watched as Tom opened a bottle of hot sauce and poured it on his food. The translator struggled to convey their shocked reactions as they realized humans deliberately added irritant compounds to their meals for pleasure. Those capsaicin molecules are defense mechanisms, one student exclaimed. They're literally poison. Tom grinned. Yeah, but they taste good. Want to try some? The aliens backed away quickly, their environmental suits' safety protocols activating automatically at the mere suggestion. A tall crystalline being approached their table, introducing itself as a xenobiology student. Your species can digest substances that would kill most life forms. Your stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve metal. How are you not classified as biological weapons? We're just built this way, Marcus explained, taking another bite of his burger. Earth has lots of different foods, so we evolved to eat pretty much anything edible. The cafeteria supervisor, who had been hovering nervously nearby, decided to turn this into a teaching moment. They projected a hologram showing various Earth foods and their chemical compositions. Other students gathered around, watching in fascination and horror. Observe, the supervisor said. Humans regularly consume ethanol, a powerful solvent; caffeine, a natural insecticide; capsaicin, a defense neurotoxin; various acids found in fruits; fermented foods full of living bacteria. Alice took a sip of her coffee, causing several nearby aliens to flinch. Don't forget chocolate, she added. It's toxic to some Earth animals, but we eat it for fun. The supervisor's form rippled with distress. Yes, your ability to convert substances toxic to other life forms into energy is remarkable. As lunch continued, more students cautiously approached with questions. They were amazed to learn that humans could safely drink ocean water after simple filtration, survive on both raw and cooked foods, and process nutrients from nearly any organic matter. No wonder your containment protocols are so strict, one student said. You're walking biological processing units. Your digestive capabilities alone could destabilize most ecosystems. Tom looked at his lunch thoughtfully. You know, I never realized how strange Earth food might seem to others. Everything we consider normal is terrifying to them. Maybe that's why they fear us, Alice whispered. We don't just survive things that should kill us. We enjoy them. The Academy's historical archive was a vast chamber filled with holographic data crystals. Tom, Alice, and Marcus stood before the central terminal, their protective suits reflecting the soft blue light of countless stored memories. Access granted to Earth historical records, the computer announced. Warning: content may be disturbing to standard species. The first hologram showed Earth from space, but through alien eyes. Warning markers highlighted active volcanoes, storm systems, and tectonic activity. Notes scrolled past, describing failed attempts to colonize Earth long before humans evolved. Look at this, Alice pointed to a report. 3 different species tried to settle Earth. All of them failed because the planet was too harsh. Marcus read through another file. They classified Earth as uninhabitable. They thought nothing intelligent could evolve there. The next section detailed the galaxy's first contact with humans. The reports were filled with disbelief and fear. Humans had not only survived on their Deathworld, but had built civilizations, developed technology, and were reaching for the stars. According to this, Tom said, reading quickly, they quarantined our entire solar system. They thought we were too dangerous to contact. The record showed surveillance reports spanning centuries. Alien observers had watched in horror as humans survived disasters that would have ended other civilizations. Earthquakes, plagues, wars. After each catastrophe, humans rebuilt, adapted, and grew stronger. They were terrified of our technology, Alice noted. It says we developed too fast, adapted too quickly. Normal species take thousands of years to achieve what we did in centuries. A classified section revealed multiple planned invasion attempts, all abandoned when the invaders realized what they were dealing with. One report stated, their bodies are evolved killing machines. Their minds are even more dangerous. They turned everything into a weapon. Even their entertainment simulates combat. Marcus found records about Earth's wildlife. They can't believe our planet's life forms. Everything on Earth is considered lethal by galactic standards. Even our herbivores are classified as extreme threats. The archives contained detailed analyses of human warfare. The aliens were shocked by human soldiers who could fight for days, survive severe injuries, and adapt to any environment. Their reports called humans evolutionary anomalies and biological impossibilities. Here's something interesting, Tom said, pulling up a recent file. They've been debating whether to classify humans as a galactic protection species. They think our ability to survive anything might make us useful as guardians. Alice discovered studies of human emotional responses. The aliens were puzzled by how humans could be both incredibly violent and deeply compassionate. One researcher noted, "They will fight to protect even non-human species. Their protective instincts extend beyond their own kind." The most recent files discussed the exchange program. Many had opposed it, calling it too risky. Others argued that understanding humans was crucial for galactic security. The final approval came with hundreds of safety protocols and emergency containment procedures. "They really didn't know what to make of us," Marcus said, closing the last file. "Still don't, really." Tom stared at the fading holograms. "We survived because we had to. Everything that makes us scary to them. Our strength, our adaptability, our persistence, it all came from Earth. Our Deathworld made us who we are." The Academy's main hall was packed with alien students and faculty, all gathered for a special presentation. Tom, Alice, and Marcus stood on the stage, their protective suits gleaming under the lights. After weeks of being feared, they had finally convinced the administration to let them share their perspective. "We understand why you fear Earth," Tom began, his voice calm and steady. "But today we want to show you something different about our world." The massive screen behind them lit up with images of Earth's beauty: rolling grasslands, peaceful forests, crystal clear lakes. The audience watched in silence as scenes of natural harmony played out. "Yes, our world is harsh," Alice continued, "but that harshness created something unique. It taught us to adapt, to help each other, to protect those who need protection." Marcus activated the next set of images, showing humans helping animals, building shelters, working together after disasters. "Our strength comes from surviving together. Every challenge made us stronger, not just physically, but as a community." The images changed to show human medical advances, rescue operations, and space exploration. "We don't just survive," Tom explained. "We use our abilities to help others. The same traits that make us scary to you. Our strength, our endurance, our adaptability. They're tools for protection." A young alien student raised a tentacle. "But your weapons, your wars." "Yes, we can fight," Alice acknowledged. "But we fight hardest to protect others. Look at this." She showed footage of human firefighters running into burning buildings, rescue workers in disaster zones, doctors working in harsh conditions. "Our Deathworld taught us something important," Marcus said. "The strong must protect the weak. Those who can endure must help those who can't. Being powerful means being responsible for others." The presentation continued with examples of human cooperation with nature. Despite being apex predators, humans work to preserve endangered species. Despite their strength, they used it to build and create rather than destroy. "We want to be part of the galactic community," Tom said. "Not as monsters to be feared, but as guardians who understand survival. We know what it's like to face impossible odds. We know how to endure, adapt, and protect." The audience was silent for a moment. Then one alien stood up. "Is it true humans will risk their lives to save even non-human creatures?" "Absolutely," Alice replied. "On Earth, we have people dedicated to saving every kind of life form. We believe all life deserves a chance to survive." Gradually, the fear in the room began to shift. The aliens started to see how human strength could be a gift rather than a curse. Their questions changed from worried queries about human violence to curious inquiries about human compassion. The Academy's director floated onto the stage. "After observing our human students, we have made a decision. The exchange program will be expanded. We believe humans have much to teach us about resilience, adaptation, and protection." As the hall erupted in excited chatter, Tom looked at his fellow humans and smiled. They had shown that being from a death world didn't make them monsters. It made them survivors, protectors, guardians of life in all its forms. Earth's harshness had created something unique. A species strong enough to survive anything, yet compassionate enough to use that strength to help others.